want to take it away?
Sure, thank you very much. And a big thank you in particular to Mid Counties Co-op and to all of you who have taken the time out of your evening to come and spend that with us. I really do appreciate it. I've got several slides to run through, and I'm really pleased to be joined by my colleagues Rosa and John, and I'll introduce them in due course as well as we move through the slides. I think we've done welcome and housekeeping. Thank you very much, Debbie. Expertly undertaken, I must admit. And I think this is a helpful slide as well, just to set the tone for the evening, isn't it? So please do. I hope that all looks as you'd expect, and please do support us with that, and be very keen once we've gone through the slides as well to answer any questions you might have towards the end. So thank you for that. I'd like to start the session by sharing a video with you called No Going Back. I'd hope it gives you a better sense of our ethos and approach as an award-winning local charity supporting people across the county and region who are trying to move towards and into secure employment and housing. And I'd hope you see it reflects our vision as well, because we believe that anybody, whatever their past, can achieve remarkable life change and reconnect with society. And this ethos and approach fits so well with this, with the approach of this evening around rebuilding local communities, and how we can do that in partnership with partners who share our values and approach, such as the Mid Counties Co-operative. So I'm going to try and play the video now. Please let me know if there are any issues with the audio. Here we go.
My ultimate goal or dream is to actually see our clients being able to have a front door key to go into their own property. We're trying to make it a family unit, because if we make it a family unit, they can basically speak to anybody and feel that they have no issues or concerns. I've been with Aspire for the last 3 years now, and it's evolving year by year. We're very proud people, and I've decided that if men can start talking, they'll get rid of a lot of the pressures and anxiety, and obviously we're open and transparent to everybody. I feel alive. I'm excited to actually get up and help the people I work with.
I was living in a really small village, and I felt really trapped by my housing situation and obviously job opportunities. I had a really sort of bad relationship with my mum, so I moved on to the project so I could get some freedom, focus on my own life and move on with that. It's really good to have the responsibility and the freedom. I've actually got hope for the future, and I've got opportunities, and I kind of know where I want to go now. You know, looking at things like university, which is something I always said I never wanted to do as well. Things might seem really bad at the moment, but it's not always as bad as you think it is. Like, there's always hope that if I can do it, then other people can do it.
For many years I've been in and out of prison, chaotic lifestyle. At this time that I was released back in November, it was just by luck that Aspire had a referral, and it was literally within 3 days of me being released from prison, they accepted me and took me into their project. It saved me in a big way. For me, it's not just a key like to my door, it opens up many doors. After that, like, I've got things put in place so that I can start progressing and moving forward.
That's great. I hope you found that a helpful initial introduction to Aspire in terms of who we are and what we do and our values. I just want to share a little bit more information about Aspire, and then we're going to hear a bit more from my colleagues, Rosa and John, talking specifically about some of the work we've undertaken with the Mid Counties Co-op. So this is our 20th anniversary year. And as we started off as a small charity supporting people experiencing homelessness in Oxford City, and we've since broadened out to work across Oxfordshire and the wider Thames Valley. Last year we supported 2,400 people, and facing a multitude of different forms of disadvantage, whether that's homelessness or poverty or long-term unemployment, and working with each and every individual to support them to move towards and into fulfilling employment and safe housing. And that's the kind of activity that can never be done effectively alone. You have to work with partners, and particularly with employers who share your values and your ethos and want to see everybody in our communities have access to opportunity. And the Mid-Counties Co-operative has been such a fantastic partner in that journey with us over the last 5 years. And we've got a couple of examples that my colleagues are going to talk about, where we've really focused on supporting people to gain access to work experience, and then from there to gain access to employment, who without the sort of programs that we can put together in collaboration with Mid-Counties Co-operative and other employers, just simply wouldn't be available to them. So in attendance from Aspire today, you have my good self, a photo of me in better times, and then I'm also joined by my colleague Rosa Kerness, who's our Pathways to Employment Coordinator, and also my colleague John Linnard, who is our Employer Liaison Lead, engaging with many of the employers in the region on our programmes. So I'm going to pass over to Rosa and John to speak to the next few slides.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. So Paul, if you could bring up the next slide, please. Brilliant, fabulous. I'll do a little introduction and then I'll pause so that you've got a chance to read what's on the slide. So thank you, Paul, for giving an overview of Aspire for us as an organisation. Obviously, as introduced, I'm Rosa, and I'm going to say a little bit about our recruitment service within Aspire, which, as you read, you'll discover is called Hire to Inspire, and our work with Mid-Counties Co-op and how we work in collaboration together. And echoing Paul, we're very proud of our relationship with Mid-Counties, as it's our longest standing employer partnership. It's been going 5 years. And then a little bit later on, John is going to talk about some specific examples of current activity. So now I'll be quiet while you read through, and then I'll add a little bit more information. Okay, so what this means in practice is we match up what we would describe as work-ready candidates from our Aspire project pathways and also from our trusted support agencies. We match up our candidates to job vacancies. And our aim 100% of the time is for our beneficiaries to have sustainable employment so that they thrive both now and in the future. We work in partnership with employers so that individuals in disadvantaged circumstances can access the same job opportunities as everybody else. And altogether that has a jargon phrase and it's known as inclusive recruitment, which means people who suffer disadvantages can have the same job opportunities as everybody else. And since the beginning of the year, we've been working with Mid-Counties on a new pilot project, and it's been new for both our organisations. So we've both been taking baby steps and learning together. You'll see mentioned in the slide is the refugee and migrant pathway. So a bit more about that coming a little bit later. But also our work with Mid-Counties this year has involved them and us developing a series of workshops together to share how we are both working towards having a more diverse workforce and a more inclusive workforce, and we're both learning from each other. So that's been very valuable for us and very valuable for Mid-Counties as well. Thank you, Paul. If I could have the next slide. Thank you. Well, I'll let you read it through and then I'll chatter a little bit about it. Okay, so saying a little bit about the work experience programme at the Cowley store. This is for individuals who are building their journey towards getting a job, who've not worked for a while, or perhaps there might be individuals who've never worked in the UK before. And whoever that individual is, they can find out about the business world and about food retail in particular as part of their journey to employment. And one of the important things that our beneficiaries on this programme do is they find out about UK work culture. Because if you've never worked or haven't worked for a while or not worked in the UK, you don't know how a business operates. So this is an opportunity for individuals to go and actually find out. All our work experience candidates have a workplace buddy at the store who basically takes that individual under their wing and talks and shares all activities that makes a store run smoothly, so that that candidate feels supported in little activities they might like to try. And every day there's a three-way conversation with the store manager as well. He's also involved. And as a result of that three-way conversation, the work experience candidate can try new activities and additional activities if they would like to as part of their steps in the programme. So as you can see, the last question said, which activities did they feel would be beneficial to include? So when we have the next slide, we'll find out. John, I'm handing to you, please.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you. Yeah, hello, nice to meet everybody. In front of you, you have a picture and the two ladies in the center of the frame. On the left, you have Maryam, who is of Pakistani extraction, and you have Linda, who is from Algeria. Interestingly enough, that when Co-op first proposed to us that we should try look at this work experience program, immediately my thoughts turned to refugees and migrants through that pathway within Aspire. I'd actually been responsible for delivering language courses, work-based ESOL. For those of you who don't know what ESOL is, it's English for speakers of other languages. And a number of people had come through the course with me, learning the language and the idiom of work. They came from a number of different backgrounds, and it seemed to me fairly clear that it would be a great experience for some of these people. The course was actually on customer service to experience as Rosa said earlier, the work culture of the UK, language and work culture being both being major barriers to success in the workplace in the UK. So yeah, those are our two first work experience individuals. In terms of figures, we've put 5 people to date through the system, the work experience system. 3, I'm happy to say, are now in work, and the other 2, although they're not, are looking forward to finding a place in work because they feel a great deal more confident in the workplace, having had the experience at Co-op in Cowley. Yeah, next slide, please. I feel like Jonathan Van Tam saying that. So now is the story of Maryam as a case study. Maryam, as I mentioned then, came originally from Pakistan. She was very short of confidence until such time as she had the opportunity to spend a couple of weeks on the work experience program with Co-op. I'll just give you a few seconds to read through that. And you'll see from the bottom paragraph there that the good news is that Maryam now has a full-time position in the industry. That's the good news. The bad news is, I guess, that it's at Marks and Spencer's. There was good reason for that, and that is that actually Maryam lives in a certain part of Oxford in Summertown where there is a store very close to her. And her comment to me when I spoke to her was, you know what, it may be Marks and Spencer's, but without the experience of having spent the time with Co-op, I never would have had the confidence to engage with Marks and Spencer, who I understand were very pleased to take her on. And again, please. The last part of my little mini presentation as a case study and the drill down, if you like, is just a short comment from Maryam. This is what she had to say in terms of her experience. I like the fact that at the end, she said not only was the experience valuable for her professionally, but she actually enjoyed it as well, which is key to the success, I believe, of the program. So that you know the people who are going into work, we keep in touch with them as well to make sure that everything's okay. and that things are moving forward in the best possible way. That's me.
Thanks, John, and thank you, Rosa, for setting out that element of the programme. And it shows that obviously barriers and disadvantage can take many forms, and we're here to help people overcome them and to move towards and into employment. And our future of mid-counties is an important part of how do we grow from here? How do we move the programme forward and our wider piece of work with the cooperative when we come to this sort of post-pandemic period? Because this is a moment when we can help to bring about a fairer, more inclusive, more resilient local economy that works with and not against our communities. And the critical part of that is about access. It's about access to opportunity, whether that be about employment, enterprise or self-employment. And we're really pleased that we have this partnership with the Mid-Counties Cooperative that allows us to dream about that and to see what our ambitions could be. And there's this emerging narrative and understanding which is really taking a hold in Oxford City, not just within Aspire and with Mid-Counties, but with several other organisations about how do we build community wealth in Oxford City so that everyone can benefit from these opportunities and we can build back not just better but more sustainably from where we are. And we're excited that a big part of that journey, a big step of that journey is we're taking together next week when we open up the enterprise hub space in the food retail store in Cowley next Tuesday. It's the launch day, and that will be a very accessible space through which more members of the communities in the East Oxford area can come in to ask for support, advice, guidance around how to move into employment, how to move into self-employment, to build relationships with people on the ground there, including with the Mid-Counties Cooperative staff, and to see what we can do together in that space. But we hope to be able to support many people, not just into employment through this ongoing work experience placement programme, but also into self-employment and to help them fulfil their ambitions there by being in that place and forming those relationships and providing that service to our community. And that concludes the formalities of the slides, but we'll just say we're really happy to take any questions that anybody might have, and to also just say thank you for listening and for your time and patience. I'm going to attempt to stop sharing the screen if that helps. Probably easier to see everybody. And of course to say thank you as well.
Okay, so Kenneth's got his hand up. So Kenneth, if you want to take yourself off mute and ask your question.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm just interested in the initiation aspect of the partnership. What came first and how was it developed? Was it in terms of the initial approach, who approached who, and was it led by, for instance, the co-op, their sort of ideas, or so it's really just that bit I'd like to get a bit more information around.
Can I just ask a clarification, if I may, Kenneth? Do you mean with regards to the partnership in general, or about this specific initiative in Cowley?
The partnership in general between the two organisations, but was it led by the co-op has certain, if you like, terms and in terms of whatever they may call it, as in what they're looking for, etc. So who initiated all of that, and how did the partnership come about and develop to the stage where you are now?
Sure. Well, I can attempt to answer that, but somebody from the Mid-Counties Co-op might have a different answer, but I'll give it a go. So my understanding is, no, it's true that we were approached by Mid-Counties Cooperative. I understand we were selected on the basis of members in our area saying that, suggesting that the cooperative should engage with us and form a partnership with us as a charity, because of our work, particularly at that time in the field of responding to homelessness. And it's sort of developed and flourished and broadened out from there. to where it is today.
I can add a little bit as well, is that Kenneth, when you asked your question, I thought, well, where did it start for me? And it started over a cup of coffee at a cafe in central Oxford with the store manager on Little Clarendon Street. And we were just chatting over a coffee, and I suddenly said to him, do you fancy doing a work experience programme at your store? And he said to me, well, I've got no idea how to do it. And I said, no, neither have I. Shall we learn together? So I think earlier I alluded to the phrase baby steps. So the presentation that we've done today is 5 years worth of baby steps all coming together. And they all start from those little tiny conversations and little activities that you do together, and it sort of grows and develops from there.
Mike, do you want to talk about the? I was going to say, Mike, do you want to talk about the regional community side of it?
Yeah, of course, and I'll add in just to close this loop really, because I mean, perfect response from Rosa and Paul on how we develop the partnership. I think from an outset point of view, it's useful to be aware that we run a regional community programme. We've got 20 regional communities, and one of the regional communities is Central Oxford. And what we did when we originated the regional communities a number of years ago now, probably 2015 or around that time, I think we started them. We surveyed local members to find out what they believed were the key issues in that local area. And one of the big things that came up was homelessness within Oxford. And as a result of that, the regional community formed local partnerships over that time with groups that can address those issues, and Aspire came through as one of those groups as well. So that's how a lot of the charity partnerships, well, all the charity partnerships are selected across those areas.
And can I just come back? Does certainly the co-op, from the co-op point of view, take it you would have had criteria as to what you're looking for? So was the Aspire, how did it work? Did that you develop a program around those criteria? Is that how it worked, or?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. To an extent, yes. So I guess from a structure criteria, there is a criteria in place that they need to be a registered charity, and they would have to go through that various sort of auditing process, if you like, to ensure that they're a registered charity and etc. But what we try and do is have quite a lot of local autonomy with this type of thing, and the local regional community steering group, which is made up of local colleagues, members and the charity partner, actually develop the action plan and criteria together to an extent. So whilst the initial criteria is there to ensure that it is a registered charity and those relevant details are in place, what then happens is actually the local regional community, which is made up of store managers, childcare nursery colleagues, all the various colleagues that we've got in that local area, and they will develop what the aims and criteria are, working with that charity partner, working with the group. So that would have happened with Aspire, and that's kind of how it works on a local basis.
Does that answer your question, Kenneth?
Yes, it has answered that question, but I mean, I'll give others a chance. I've got one or two more, but
okay,
but I'll give others the opportunity to ask first.
That's lovely, thank you, Kenneth. Rosemary, you've got your hand up. If you want to take yourself off mute and ask your question.
Hi there. Sorry, it took me some time to sort that out.
Right.
Breakfast Plus, a very small charity in Swindon, which provides a cooked breakfast for homeless people and homeless people, those in need, and frankly, that need is increasing at the moment. And we have been very grateful to Mid Counties Co-op for your support in the past, and hope to in the future. I'm really interested in this programme, not just from our charity point of view, but also because on an individual basis, I hosted an Afghani asylum seeker for a year under another charity, Swindon City of Sanctuary, when his appeals had failed and he was potentially homeless. Fortunately, his appeals have succeeded. So this is really a question for mid-counties rather than for Aspire. But is there any capacity for extending this programme on possibly an individual basis? You know, sort of in other towns. In Swindon, the partner charity would be the Harbour Project, which is the, as it were, the host. And given that we're all faced at the moment with, I mean, I think the last figures I heard were that we have 134 Afghani refugees in our hotels, in quarantine hotels in Swindon, and we are potentially expecting a minimum of 50 to be, housed in Swindon. And this is only the first tranche, coming out of Afghanistan. And Afghanistan is only one of the 50 nationalities that the Harbour Project host. It does sound to me as if you could replicate this, albeit maybe on a smaller scale, it could have incredibly powerful consequences.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, yeah, go on.
I need to take myself off mute because my sister-in-law's calling me.
That's okay. That's okay. Hopefully you can still hear my response on it. But I think there's a if you don't mind, Karen, I'll take this one. So I think there's a couple of points there for me to go over, because I think there's the immediate one with the Afghan refugees, which I'll cover. But I think the broader scale, you've hit the nail on the head really, because what we are looking to do with this particular project in Oxford at Cowley Centre is develop a real blueprint and a flagship project, because we've got a good opportunity in Cowley, which is quite unique to us. We've got a store where we can really go to town and engage in this opportunity. We've got some space inside, as Paul mentioned, the launch of the Enterprise Hub. So this flagship size project is a big one. So we wouldn't be able to replicate a project on this scale across everywhere. But what we can do and are looking to certainly do is, particularly around the work experience and the exceptional recruitment pathway activity that Rosa and John highlighted, is use that learning to see where we can put that in across other trading areas. And I mentioned the 20 regional communities. Swindon is one of those. And I think we'd have a great opportunity to do something there using those learnings. So that's something we certainly do want to do. Certainly from an immediate point of view with Afghan refugees, we are actively working with the Red Cross, Aspire, Walsall Council as well, to try and identify immediate opportunities to try and provide employability opportunities. So again, I don't know if I think was it Rosemary who asked the question? Yeah, hopefully you can still hear me, Rosemary. If you have got anything that you can send through from your group that you're involved with there, we'd be really interested to learn a bit more and see how we can link that up from an immediate point of view if there is something, but certainly from a longer term point of view as well.
I'd be very happy to do that. In fact, the Harbour Project were asked to participate in a Points West local news programme the other day, and they invited me along as someone who had hosted an Afghani refugee. So I'm sure that between us we could give you some quite helpful stuff. So I'll do that offline. Okay.
Thank you.
Rosemary, I don't know if you were online when we spoke about it, but in the chat function, you'll see Debbie's put the email address that you can use if you've got any. So use that one to send that information through to us. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm going off now.
No problem. Has anyone else got any questions?
Can I just say, Karen, as well, just to respond to Rosemary's, we've been, we're very much open book at Aspire in terms of, we'd love to share the model and any learnings that we've had with any charity partner as well, to see if there's scope for replication in other areas. So you'd be very welcome to come and visit us in Oxford, or we can meet you halfway in Farringdon. How's that?
It's great. Thanks, Paul. Has anyone else got any questions? Sorry.
So Paul didn't say that's where he lives. John and I also have links with an organisation in Swindon that helps to build employability, not specifically for refugees, but this organisation does an extremely good job. They're called Phoenix Enterprises. So I don't know if you sort of come across them. But we'd be share and support any knowledge and experience that we have up this way for down there. Very happy to chatter.
Absolutely, I'm very well aware of Phoenix Enterprises, and I think you're absolutely right, both of you. Partnership, collaborative working, is the way forward. We don't need to go into boxes or silos. We need to work together.
Absolutely.
Rosemary, would you be, when you email us, would you be okay with us forwarding on your details to Rosa and Paul?
Absolutely. I'm very happy. Sort of with that. I'm already very aware of what Aspire does, but that's through another connection.
Lovely. Okay, we'll do that for you and get you guys connected up. Okay.
Okay. You.
Lovely. Anybody else? Kenneth, did you have another question you wanted to ask?
Yes, there is. I wanted to learn a bit more from the service users side in terms of probably some of the challenges which Aspire may have faced in terms of, getting the placements and just a general sort of involvement of the service users, in terms of getting them placements and I think most of them several had been migrants. So what were some of the issues, if you like, you had to resolve even before you could get them on placement?
So who wants to take that one on?
I think I can talk generally about what we do at Aspire to support people to have a voice and to engage with how we design and deliver services, but maybe Rosa and John could give a bit more about the background of some of the participants and other supports that we've provided to make sure that they can actually participate and benefit from something such as a work experience placement.
Yes, Paul. We were kind of pushing it at open door, as I mentioned earlier. There were 9 people on the course that I developed with these students and from the migrant and refugee pathway. And they were all very keen. They found themselves in quite difficult positions, a lot of them, and chaotic backgrounds, etc., etc. And they wanted to find their way into the workplace. In terms of convincing them that it was a good idea to involve themselves in the project, actually wasn't very difficult at all. The moment we thought that there was a natural link, if you like, a synergy between what they'd done with me particularly, actually, in terms of English language learning, given the number of backgrounds they came from, and also in terms of understanding better British work culture, which isn't easy. It's a lot more difficult than you think. If you think that, there's a big difference in work culture between here in the UK and let's say France or Germany, then you take that across to places such as Syria, Lebanon, Pakistan, there's a big jump there. So in terms of actually getting people on board, my answer would be it was pretty simple. It was pretty straightforward. They were very keen to do it. And Mike, for you particularly, we have further people in the pipeline.
I'd add, in terms of the practical support we give, is simple things as well, such as reimbursement of bus tickets, making sure paying for lunch costs. These small costs, which actually can cause real problems for people to participate. We provide digital devices to make sure people can can get online and do other aspects of their lives around a placement as well. So it's those sorts of bits and pieces. I just say, in terms of how we support people to be more involved in how we design services, we've supported something in Oxfordshire called the Lived Experience Advisory Forum. That's mainly been focused around people experiencing homelessness and recovery, but through that they have a platform where they get support with training and guidance in terms of how they can actually be supported to engage with agencies and commissioners and give constructive feedback and guidance to the commissioners about what services are working from their perspective and what needs to improve and what needs to change. And that's been a really healthy, much needed change in the dynamic of the relationships. So and I understand quite an empowering experience as well. And then within Aspire ourselves, at least 30% of people on the payroll in Aspire have come through our own programs before, or they've been through that journey of recovery, rehabilitation, or experienced homelessness. So there's I mean, passion and commitment, sure, of course, that's brought, but there's also an incredible level of professionalism and empathy that induces as well, and it makes us a much more effective organisation.
Yeah, I would also say that individuals in the refugee and migrant pathway, you'll have all seen on the television, migrants coming over the channel in these very flimsy boats. And this is just a personal reflection, these people I find absolutely amazing, what they've been through, and their sense of humour, their joy at being in the UK is incredibly humbling. So it's these people are, they deserve an opportunity, and they deserve to be here, and they deserve to thrive. Yeah, that's just like a personal view.
Does that answer your question, Kenneth?
Yes, it has indeed, and I think that I mean, clearly it's very innovative, and it's apart from me doing a bit more research into a bit more, and I'll probably end up talking with one or two people in the coming weeks from the Aspire 2 project. I mean, we're looking at in Dudley, I mean, I live in Birmingham, but my organisation is based in Dudley, and we are looking around the issue at the moment of employment prospects for refugees and asylum seekers. Some of you may have heard of the Black Country, or would have heard of the Black Country. At the moment, it's employment. When it comes to employing people from the migrant communities, it's record across the Black Country is very, very low, and it's about trying to do something to address the issues. The Black Country is very parochial, very traditional in its views, all that sort of stuff, at least parts of it, and we're just trying to look at some initiatives that we could actually get the funding for, and work with different partners within the employment field to try and get more people from the new and upcoming communities into employment, because they all, at least 95% of them, do want to work. But it's to get them the opportunities to work, apart from those who may receive or get seasonal work on farms in Isham and elsewhere. But it's an uphill struggle. But it's something that we are looking into working on over the coming years, or coming months anyway.
Yeah, Kenneth, if you'd like to contact Mid Counties, and if they would be happy to forward your email to us, and you would like that to happen, we've got some contacts up that way. So they may well be people that you already know, but perhaps they might not be. So very happy to share and pass them on.
Thank you very much. Yes.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Kenneth. Luke, you had your hand up briefly. I don't know if you still have a question or not.
In paid up members, how many are in the Central Oxford Regional Committee? I'm South London, but Central Oxford is where I come to the half yearly meeting.
Sorry, Luke, I'm struggling to hear you there. Could you repeat your question, please, my love?
Of the 750,000 members, how many would you say are in the Central Oxford regional community?
So, am I right? You're saying how many members are in the sort of Central Oxford area?
Thank you.
Yeah. Offhand, I wouldn't know, and unfortunately, we don't have anybody on the line today that's from the membership team. So I'm really sorry, then, Luke. I don't think we're going to be able to answer that question. I don't think. Have you got any idea, Mike, at all?
I think the only thing I'd say is it's as a percentage it is significant because we've got a strong member base in the Oxford area. Now we've got 700,000 members in total, and I want to say it's somewhere around, but this won't be scientifically specific, but it's somewhere around I think 30,000 members in the broad Oxford area. But that's not necessarily Central Oxford, but it's around that ballpark figure. So there is a significant coverage in that area.
Yeah, I've definitely met the 30 that turned up to the last half yearly meeting. I'm from South London, so I'm an immigrant too far. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Luke. Stephen, you've got your hand up. Would you like to take yourself off mute and ask your question?
Well, it's only anecdotal to add into Luke's comment, but I'm in Gloucester, but for participating in some of the mid-counties events, I received an email, £25 could be contributed to a charity of my choice. So my £25 went to Aspire at Oxford, even though that's 50 miles away from where I am. So it's a bit of a broad issue, I think, as to where the members are and perhaps where they feel the support should go to.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, Stephen. Yeah, we've had a few people that were on that session that have asked to have their money sent to Aspire, so you're not the only one. Has anyone else got any more questions? Oh, well, I'll hand back over to Deb then.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Paul, Rosa, John. That was a really great presentation. I do hope that everybody enjoyed learning more about the work of this amazing charity and our partnership with them. Anyone that maybe joined us 1 or 2 minutes late and may have missed the first bit of the presentation, don't worry, we'll make sure that the recording link is sent out to everybody so you can watch the whole thing in your own home in comfort at a later opportunity. We're more than happy, as we said earlier, to take any further questions that we can relay back to the guys at Aspire. So if you do think of another question that you'd like to ask, you can contact us on yourcoop.community@midcounties.coop, and that email address is currently in the chat if you want to have a quick look at that and just make a note of that. So again, thank you so much for joining us and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you.